Welcome everyone. So risk-based thinking, how monitors can develop an auditor's perspective. So about 7 years ago, a little over 7 years ago, the FDA put out a guidance, a final guidance on risk-based monitoring. So working with monitors, thinking about, rather than doing 100% source document verification, is there a way that we can incorporate risk assessment into what we are doing with monitoring and really streamline our approach to monitoring, focusing on what matters. And that's really something that we've been doing in auditing for years, right? We don't get the opportunity to go every 4 to 6 weeks. We don't look at everything. We look at the things that matter. We have to be able to justify why we have selected those areas. So what we will talk about today is looking at auditing techniques when performing monitoring tasks. We'll talk about proper monitoring. The regulations require us to ensure proper monitoring. But what does that mean, and who is responsible for ensuring that that monitoring is conducted properly? We'll talk about monitoring findings within the context of regulatory risk, look at standard monitoring report templates and discuss ways to adapt them to develop a compliance assessment, describe processes for discerning patterns in information reviewed, and explore methods for developing monitoring tools that facilitate a systems review and communication. Remember, those monitoring visit reports are compliance tools. Regulatory bodies review them, auditors review them, line managers review them, and we use them to act upon and work towards compliance. So if they're not clear and detailed, if the person reading it doesn't fully appreciate what the monitor is seeing, then we end up oftentimes having things fall through the cracks. And the FDA has written warning letters to sponsors and CROs saying, you know, your monitors didn't capture everything, or your monitors captured stuff, but they didn't appreciate the significance of what they were seeing. And because they didn't appreciate the significance, they weren't able to effectively address it and secure compliance. So what is an audit, and why does it matter for us? We're thinking about monitors thinking like auditors, then we have to incorporate the review of systems in what we're doing. So audits are looking at systems independently. So obviously monitoring and auditing need to be independent from one another. Auditing, as noted here within ICH, is more historically retrospective. We're coming in after the study is over or while it's ongoing. We have been working for years to try to be more proactive in this in terms of doing pre-qualification audits, doing more in-process audits. So again, using auditing as a compliance tool so that we can go in and identify issues and address them and make sure that those non-compliance items don't carry forward. Quality assurance. Auditing is quality assurance, planned and systematic actions to make sure that we are compliant. We've established the regulations that govern the conduct and oversight of the study. We have identified all parties who are going to be responsible for executing certain tasks, and we're making sure that they are equipped with the information they need to properly conduct that study and oversee it. Monitoring is the oversight of the progress of a trial, making sure that things are being done appropriately. So if you look at the difference in the definitions between monitoring and auditing, you'll see that ICH puts monitoring in the present and auditing in the past. Making sure things were done appropriately versus making sure things are being done at this time. So you have the benefit as monitors, you have the benefit to actually be in the mix of things and affect change. As auditing is quality assurance, monitoring is that quality control. Auditors assure quality, monitors make sure that the controls that are in place to protect participants and integrity of data hold. You identify your risks. You believe this might be an area of concern. You develop your monitoring plan to make sure your monitors are asking those questions. We put training in place. We select qualified investigators. We select qualified monitors, all working towards controlling quality. Quality assurance is the umbrella over quality control. Auditing is the umbrella, if you will, over monitoring. When we go to a site, we're not just auditing that site. We are auditing the monitor as well, auditing the sponsor, auditing the IRB, looking to see how all of these parties work together. How do you build quality in? And we're there as auditors to make sure that it's achieved. Both quality assurance and quality control are focused on compliance and conduct, but they are separate and independent. They must be. The regulations, FDA regulations, do not discuss auditing, but they do talk about monitoring. ICH, however, under section 5.19, talks about auditing. Right after 5.18 talks about monitoring. The FDA mentions auditing for its inspectors when they go out and do an assessment of a sponsor, a CRO, and talks about quality assurance units, but they always focus on monitoring. They expect that monitoring will control quality issues.